Valley area.
So many of you may be watching us for the first time in a day or 2 days, and we have information up until about 8 o'clock or 8:15 tonight. And then we're going to take a break, come back, as Fran said, for our 10 o'clock newscast on Fox Wilmington and our 11 o'clock newscast after the football game. But more new information right now in from the city of Wilmington, where the spokesperson for the city emailed and said city operations will be closed tomorrow for personnel not involved in emergency response. A decision about operations for the rest of the week will be finalized and will likely be made tomorrow. The city's Emergency Operations Center will continue to coordinate the storm response along with New Hanover County at the New Hanover County Government Center. If you want to take the next part.
I sure will. Over the last 2 days, the city of Wilmington had more than 30 crews mobilized to begin pushing trees, debris off of roads to make them passable for safety issues. These additional crews are part of the city's emergency response contract with DRC Emergency Services. Duke Energy is coordinating to ensure lines are de-energized and safe to work around down trees. That's very important.
Yep.
The city and DRC crews expect to complete this initial response by the end of the day, Tuesday. As conditions improve, the full complement of Duke Energy Progress crews are expected to be in town performing restoration work. Approximately 1,000 trucks are headed to this area.
And here's, again, more information on debris and trash, because obviously with the storm, trash was not picked up in some areas last week, and people have started clearing up some of the debris from the storm already. As you heard from many of our live reports, you can hear the chainsaws and generators going. Crews will be out tomorrow assessing trash and recycling pickup for the rest of the week, and an announcement will be made by the end of tomorrow. So as far as your trash, recycling, and everything like that, trash, recycling, yard waste will not be picked up tomorrow, and there will be more details for the yard debris sometime tomorrow as well. Now, we heard County Manager Chris Coudray say that those who are picking up the debris themselves would be able to take it out to the New Hanover County landfill. That should be open again on Tuesday. But they are trying to identify areas where if you have debris, you'll be able to take it. But also, they have to find a place for some of these contractor crews to dump what they do pick up.
Right.
And so as they make all of those decisions and make all that process begin, they will announce when the debris will be removed, when you have to have the debris out at the end of your sidewalk, at the end of your driveway, when your trash will be picked up, when your recycling will be picked up. That's all part of the response here now, along with the regular trash and recycling that we put out every day or every week. Now there's going to be yard debris and mountains of yard debris in some areas. So we will have that. We'll put it on WECT.com, our mobile news app. And look at this. This was some of that video we saw earlier about this mobile home on Stagg Park Road and some of the high water that meteorologist Colin Hackman sent back earlier tonight.
That's just astonishing to look at that, and then to just know that just a couple days ago you didn't have that water.
Right.
And then, of course, the tree comes down on this mobile home. I'm assuming that's a mobile home. I can't see it completely. Is that a camper? Whatever the case may be, it's destroyed now by a tree. Floodwaters, in many cases, continuing to rise. Yeah, I think that's a camper, right?
Yeah, looks like one. Yeah, it looks like more of a camper. You see a propane, or what appears to be a propane tank at the end. Maybe a camper that you can take out to, put on the back of a SUV and take someplace. But
the pump house in the back of the house submerged underwater.
And let's hope nobody was in that camper when that tree came down inside. Here's some more conditions. Now, this is in Brunswick County, sent to us by Jim McKee. This is Highway 133 south of Brunswick Shore, and look at the road compromised here. Obviously,
that's horrifying to look at.
If you use 133, chances are this is not going to be available for several days at least, probably longer as crews get in there and try to
And you don't want it to be.
Nope, I wouldn't want to drive over that until they get in there and fix it. But this is along Highway 133 in Brunswick County, more of the rushing water causing major issues with traveling and likely we don't know where that water is going either. And here's an area of some damage in Charlotte, I believe. Yeah, there it is, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, this is a tree down, and we've seen this all over our viewing area, but this, of course, is in Charlotte, showing you how this storm has moved and just destruction all along its path. Mecklenburg County, of course, taken a big hit from Florence, and there were other counties nearby to Mecklenburg as well.
Iredell, Mecklenburg, Union,
Yes.
York counties, all reporting some damage, along with flooding that was causing issues. And as you heard Eric and Kelly in the last couple of weather hits we've done, many of those bands from the storm are now moving up into the Greensboro area, the Winston-Salem area, and still will be moving across North Carolina. So they haven't seen the last of the rain that they're going to get either, with the center of the storm being in South Carolina. So as that storm continues to move, the showers that were behind it that raked our area late last night with several tornado warnings that included our TV station, other areas of North Carolina still yet to see all that they will see from this storm.
And of course, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, the question remains, how much more rain are we going to get before we can take a sigh of relief? For the answer to that, let's go to Kelly McGlynn.
Hey guys, I think we have one of our cameras back up. This is the Surf City camera right now. If you guys want to take it live, I believe this is live right now. You can see some flooding here on portions of like the grassy area. I'm not sure where this is exactly looking out to right now. I'm kind of having a hard time operating the camera right now, but I believe this is a live look in Surf City right now. The car is on the road right now. You see a truck there. I'm not sure if that's some kind of a management truck or official truck or something, but we have a camera up, so that's a good sign. We can get you a live look in Surf City. All looks okay for right now. I think we'll start to get our cameras back more and more as we continue to evaluate the process of how to do that. But right now, live look in Surf City, so that's a plus right there. Another plus too is that for the tornado watch, most of the counties have been taken out of that since 5 p.m. So the only two main counties in our area right now under a tornado watch are Bladen County and Columbus County. This watch goes through 11 p.m. tonight, and it's basically because we have that band sitting to our west, kind of over right around 95, but extending into our western county. So, you know, a tornado watch means conditions will be favorable for a tornado to spin up. Of course, if anything does happen, we will come right to us here in the Weather Center to give you those updates, but I want to take a look at velocity now. I'm not really seeing anything that's catching my eye right at the moment. I'll take a zoom in here, and everything looks okay. But again, the trend with these tornadoes has been little to really no, you know, not warning, but action to take with this. I mean, they kind of just spin up within a scan, then spin down within a scan. Sometimes they're long-lasting within these couple of scans. So again, something to watch over the next couple of days. Right now, nothing specifically catching my eye. But we'll continue to monitor that too. Otherwise, your first alert Doppler radar looking pretty good right now. Some folks actually getting a break from the rain, which is much needed for right now. We'll go over in Brunswick County. Most of this area is looking okay. Again, a few of those showers coming in offshore. Otherwise, New Hanover County, you're looking okay. Some light to moderate rainfall. Kind of the same thing over in Pender County. I think the heaviest rain right now is moving in from northern Columbus County, kind of near the Hallsboro area. Elizabethtown, you're probably seeing some moderate to heavy rainfall right now. Tar Heel area, that's coming up into your area as well. Again, we're keeping a close eye for the potential of tornado rainfall. Again, we'll be keeping a close eye on, but again, this kind of a batch of showers and storms moving in from Horry County. So this area right here is we'll have close eyes on, and also this band right here we'll have close eyes on over the next couple of hours for any potential weather bulletins to be sent out. But for right now, no warnings are issued as far as tornadoes go. Again, there is a tornado watch out for Bladen County and Columbus County through 11 p.m. tonight. Let's see if we can walk through the hour-by-hour forecast. This is from 5, so we'll extend this forward in time. Here's 11. Those numbers that you see on the map right now, those are your winds. So winds will be around 10, maybe 15 miles per hour, a little bit gusty with any of those storms that do develop. And again, spin-up tornado not out of the question. We'll continue to monitor that. Again, scattered, isolated showers and storms throughout the overnight tonight, carrying into your Monday. But things will finally start to settle down in terms of rainfall and storms by Monday morning. We'll still see a few around the area, but it will gradually get better as we make our way through Monday afternoon and Monday into Tuesday as well. So don't want to completely rule out a gusty storm tonight. Flooding, again, will continue to be a significant issue moving forward. We're keeping a close eye on the river levels. And again, we're starting to get a camera back. We just had our Surf City camera, I think, popped up right now. So good news there. We can start to see some actual ground truth of what's going on instead of, not having any picture there at all. And right now, the view that I'm looking at in Surf City looks okay for right now. But of course, we'll continue to keep you updated. If we do have a tornado warning, guys, we'll come straight back to us here. But I'm going to toss it over to you, Fran and John.
Okay. All right, Kelly, thanks very much. We got Kaylee Tracy in Columbus County. She's been there for this whole storm and really talking a lot about, talking a lot about the conditions there. Kaylee, you were kind of there when it was breezy. You were there when it started to rain. You were there when it got bad, and now you're there in the recovery. I see you have a member of the military there, maybe the National Guard. What's the status of the recovery so far and the things in Whiteville and Columbus County?
Hi, John. Yes, I have Sergeant Richardson here with me. He is part of the National Guard crew that just actually arrived here in Whiteville. I'll let him kind of talk about that recovery that you were talking about. You actually, this wasn't even your mission. You kind of just stumbled along to little Whiteville in Columbus County. Tell me about that.
Well, we've just been getting all of our orders from the Emergency Operations Command, and basically left Rayford, North Carolina last night at around 10 o'clock and ended up getting here at 4 in the morning, basically to do whatever we needed to do. We've been aiding first responders and basically started a mission to support a dam and ended up doing search and rescue operations instead, just because of the situation is just constantly changing as the weather changes. So really we've just been thrown into, a bad situation with some really great people. The city of Whiteville has been nothing but welcoming, and thankfully we've had the chance to, return that.
And I know you guys were kind of riding around. If you can kind of see behind me, it's a little bit in the distance here, but we have one of your dump trucks. It's a 10-ton dump truck. I know there's a more technical name for it, but we're going to call it that for now. And you guys are taking that out, and you've used that to help bring resources and kind of help the guys here with, water rescues and that type of thing.
Right. Yeah, basically we've just been trying to use the vehicles that we have to, the best of our advantage, because they're able to ford deeper waters, and just with the size and weight, we can get through some of the areas a little bit easier than some of the first responders that might not be able to get to an area to help people. So. And
now tell me on a personal level, you just got here. You drove through the night. You've been helping all around with these recovery efforts. You got called out as part of the National Guard. How has it been for you as now a first responder through this storm?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I think that if the same thing were to happen in my hometown, I would be extremely grateful to have this kind of help and support from people from all over the state and from different counties and that sort of thing. So. Well,
we're sure glad that you stumbled upon our little town of Whiteville in Columbus County, and thank you so much, and all of the other first responders here. I know you're learning your way around. You'll be helping in the next few days with us out here. So I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio, John and Fran.
All right, I just want to ask one quick question, because I have been curious from the start of this.
Sure.
The vehicle that's behind you, is that the same vehicle that's used? I'm showing my ignorance here because I really don't know. Is that the same vehicle that's used to carry the, what do you call it?
Swift water rescue boats?
Yeah, the swift water rescue boats. Thank you.
Let me ask, so our anchor friend is asking, the vehicle behind us, do you carry swift water rescue boats and equipment in that as well, or is that different?
Right, it has the capabilities to, if that would be something that would come down, as a mission to specifically do that. But basically, our primary purpose is to be able to ford waters. Last night we were actually trying to be able to figure out exactly what roads were passable and what roads were not. And really it just all comes down to, using our equipment safely to you know, be the best help that we can wherever we can get to.
And I know these are some pretty big toys y'all have out here, and you had some, the Humvees earlier, and the Whiteville Fire Department guys, look at them like kids in a candy shop. They have these big fire trucks out here, but they're kind of showing you around. You know, you guys are driving them, they're showing you the lay of the land, so when you go out there and you do have to help, you are familiar with the area and all of that. Right. So is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, we're, again, like I said, we're just really happy to be here, and thankful to the people of Whiteville for, you know, just the support that they've shown us, you know, as we go through this together and figure it out as we go sometimes.
And our anchor, John, actually has a question. So, John, you'd like to ask a question to Sergeant Richardson?
Yeah, Kaylee, my question, we heard earlier from Steve Camlin, the fire chief at the ADR Fire and Rescue, that even some of the larger military vehicles, some of the larger trucks, had difficulty making it through some of the flooded roads. Did your guest have any concerns at any point in time while they were coming down here about the roads and them being too dangerous even for some of his vehicles to get through?
Yeah, so John is asking, a lot of the waters are pretty high in just our viewing area alone. Have you had any concerns? I know it took you hours upon hours just to get here on a trip that usually doesn't take that long. Have you had any concerns about the level of the water in your vehicle, as big as it is?
No, really, basically training with these vehicles, we know the vehicle's capabilities and aren't willing to put our lives in danger, you know, to further, you know, worsen the problem and create a worse situation. So basically, if we're not able to, you know, aid and assist the people that are within our, you know, reasonable means of getting to, then we basically have to rely on locals or, for instance, today we actually had an incident where we were actually working with some of the locals that were out in their kayaks and john boats and basically cooperating with emergency responders who had flagged us down, and really it's just basically a team effort, but we're here to basically provide the support that we can and just be a puzzle piece to putting everything together and you know, giving these people back their lives and their community.
So you've kind of seen that all of these communities work together in this.
Yes.
All right, John and Fran, any more questions for Sergeant Richardson before I let him go?
We do not. That was a concern that Fran and I both had, because when you hear that military vehicles and these military guard members are concerned about driving through heavy water, then an SUV is not going to have any kind of a chance if their vehicle can't go through. We appreciate him being in this community and helping us out.
Right, and that is something that you guys had said, that this water is so high some places that people should not be even attempting to drive in it. Can you talk about that just briefly? Right,
I would just as a message to anybody watching that that may feel that attached to their home, you know, it's really not worth. You can always rebuild your home. It takes years to rebuild lives broken through people, you know, that do pay that price or suffer injuries and have to recover, and we've seen it, you know, ever since we've gotten here. You know, it's just best to listen to the advice from the news and
first responders.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to toss it back to you, John and Fran, in the studio.
All right, Kaylee, thanks. Thank you, and thanks for the work that you've done up there as well. Look who's here.
Hey.
Look who's here.
How you guys been?
Well, you know what?
Tired?
How
you really want to
have
know?
we been? How have you been?
Same as you guys, I guess, just running and gunning and trying to bring the story. And you guys are doing a great job, in spite of all this.
I know. You fascinate me, though. I mean, Colin is a meteorologist, so, you know, he's in there, he's tracking the storm, he's telling us everything we need to know about Florence before Florence even gets here. But then he has that other hat that he really likes to wear, and that is to go out and get the footage of what's going on as the storm is approaching, then the aftermath. You have been everywhere.
Yeah, it's a story about people now. You know, you go from weather, and then as soon as you start feeling impacts, then it becomes a people story. And who doesn't love a people story? We're looking at video here from College Road. Earlier today, we were shooting packages of quick stories of what was happening. This is North College Road. This is half a mile from Blue Clay. So, like, this isn't out on some river. This is just rainwater flooding that we saw. We actually tried to navigate that in what they call a 5-ton, which is a large Army dump truck, private individual.
And were you concerned as that was happening?
No,
as you
man.
were going
The driver had been in big water like that before, and then it got deep.
Yeah.
And and so to your point, what you were speaking of,
Yeah.
there are vehicles that are made to get through 5-6 foot of water, and weren't able to on College Road.
But could you see your Toyota pickup
No way.
or my SUV
Forget
or
it.
Fran's SUV going through something like that?
And we saw people in big trucks like that, even up in Ogden, get in trouble, and realize it and turn around. We had one story earlier today, and I don't know what they're going to queue up, but we started our day in Ogden and watched literally a woman getting pulled out of a car.
Really?
And had that story early, probably about, I guess that was 11, and I don't know what day is it. Whatever day it is.
Same thing. Yeah.
So learned a lot today. Really, from being here like you guys have through numerous hurricanes. There's some benchmarks, and inland flooding is Floyd. That's no more. This is definitely having a larger impact on places in Pender and New Hanover County than Floyd ever touched. So
this is
Where's
the
that?
Ogden story here?
this is on. Gosh, my brain's turned off now. The street.
Torchwood Drive?
Torchwood, thank you. So this car literally
Oh,
is,
yeah.
the lady driving the vehicle didn't see the edge of the road. And how do you when there's a foot of water on the road? She drove her car there, and you actually can see the windshield wipers on in the background.
Oh,
I don't know if you
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so she was, she credited a gentleman with her rescue. A guy was there on the spot, a neighbor. That neighborhood is wrecked. Torchwood, the houses behind there.
Yeah.
A gentleman just on the other side of that had his, not only did his roof come down and had water throughout the house, but the water was rising from below. So double whammy. You think about, and same thing in Ogden.
Were there a lot of trees down in that area?
There
too?
were, and so you have both the threat of rising water and also, we had tornado warnings. So the people with the rising water, that was the concern throughout the day. And then you watch the rain come up, and then I don't remember when you guys were here or not, but basically from 6 p.m. on, it was a nonstop tornado fest with
yesterday,
warning,
yes.
warning, 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 warning.
Oh,
and
we know.
yeah, and so these folks, they're listening and watching us, and it's a disconcerting thing that when you are out when your yard looks like that, what do you do? So am I to duck and cover? Am I to get out of here? So this is it just echoes the sentiment that evacuation is always the best way to go with this, because when you're feeling the pressure and anxiety of a tornado warning and rising water, it's too late. There's no plan for that. This is video from, gosh, we did a lot today, didn't we?
Is this up in northern New Hanover County, it looks like?
I'm having a difficult time seeing here. Oh no, this is in, let's see where we are.
Burgaw area?
Burgaw, it is, yeah. So this
And
is.
can we call up that video we're watching? Call up the video of that sinkhole. Okay, so.
Okay, so this is I believe Walker Street. Yep, this is Walker in Burgaw. Now we had heard the issue with Burgaw Middle School, and so we were in the area and went over there to try to check it out. This is directly behind Burgaw Middle School, so we thought that there might be some flood implications as to why they were evacuating. I mean, literally, this property adjoins that one, but it wasn't. So that was the first thing we saw. We drove around. We actually talked to the American Red Cross. They had 200 people in this facility and their people, and the facility wasn't going to be able to hold anymore. So they made an executive decision to bring in buses and get people out of there. And it was a smart decision because already you're displaced in a building perhaps with not great air conditioning, water rising from the back. It's too much pressure. So good move for them to move it. And then we went up to White Stocking Road, which it's a disaster. I mean, there's wild animals, not wild animals, goats and pigs and donkeys that I guess people had let off their land in order to escape the floods that are walking down the roads. There are people that aren't going to have power for months.
Really?
Yes.
Months?
Well, there's no way. I don't know. I guess I can't put a timetable on it because that's not for me to speak to. But there are isolated areas in White Stocking and Stag Park Road where people are cut off, and the water's going to rise. So this goes from being a rainwater event to a river flooding event, and that water there is predicated on how much can get out into the Cape Fear River. As the Cape Fear River rises, it's going to be a big problem. This is
Can you speak to that?
I can. That's a Highway 40, I believe.
Shire, isn't this Shire Lane?
This is not. This is Yeah, that's not something that we covered today.
Oh, that's not what you covered. Okay,
That's not.
sorry
So,
about that.
no worries. Yeah. So, but we did see many culverts and roadways washed out just like this one. The most prevalent one, I-40. I-40, westbound I-40, just as you get onto I-40, has half the lane missing. So, and they had the, the good news is nobody fell in it, but it looked just like that, and that's why you couldn't get in or out. 40 was blocked there. It was blocked at 414. We looked at I-40 on the overpass of White Stocking Road.
Saw that, yeah.
That's why it was closed.
Well,
Both directions with feet of water on I-40.
That's why it's so important for people to understand not to get out. You were out, and
Yep.
you're pretty fearless.
Here's 40.
Okay,
So
yeah.
there you can see that's over my right shoulder is the inbound lane to Wilmington.
Right.
And I mean, it's a river. And then on the other side, both lanes were completely flooded over. So there wasn't really anything that people could do to be able to go in or out. And, I know that there's going to be some issues here as we move forward.
This is
That's
the shot
I-40.
that shocked me here.
Yeah.
And one way you could see it was flooded, but this is all 4 lanes.
Across the road. And this is in that same area of Pender County. This is just to the east of Burgaw, Stag Park Road. It's an area that's low. It does flood, from time to time, but I've talked to people who've lived there 25 years and said that Floyd was a drop in the hat compared to this, and they're really worried about the water rising. Cape Fear River, I don't remember exactly. I'm sure our meteorologists that are working right now know the benchmark, but I think the Cape Fear River peak was at 24 feet for Floyd, or maybe 28, and we're going to go way above that. So it's going to be a serious issue for the people. That's where I plan to go tomorrow, back to Stag Park, back to White Stocking. Of course, we go wherever the stories are, but there are people there. We talked to one live on television that they have a 90-year-old grandfather that's still there that they had to bring in U.S. Forestry with a deuce and a half, a big 2.5-ton truck to try to get him out.
That was along the Black River up there in Curry, wasn't it?
No, it's actually off of Burgaw Creek, which empties into northeast Cape Fear.
Right.
And he wasn't the only one back there,
There's a lot of people back there, and there's some that aren't leaving. We talked to a lady today that was concerned. They have a horse farm in that area. There's some horse farms. There's blueberry farms. Beautiful area, low, obviously, but she moved her horses, and that's hard work. So they had to move the horses up to dry ground, and then they had to move the hay and things to take care of them.
And then she went back.
Well, she said she's leaving. So, but here's the thing with that. So there's no guarantees in that area. So, I mean, there's going to be water that rises higher than what we saw today. And we weren't able to get a Humvee into some locations back there. They're not going to be able to get deuce and a halves or the 2.5-ton trucks to some spots back there. We got a 5-ton truck, enormous truck stuck today on North College Road. So there's some real concern.
Well, so where you were talking about the 90-year-old man and talking to, I guess it was his...
it was his ex-daughter-in-law.
Ex-daughter-in-law,
Yeah.
right. How far away was he from where you were
2.5 miles,
okay.
with multiple deep water crossings. We
Really?
rode in the Humvee, and I have video of this, but we rode in the Humvee, and we went through, I haven't really ridden in many Humvees, but the water came up when we were riding into the cabin, so our boots were in the water, and then we go through and come up the other side, and they knew what they were doing, but it's pretty weird when you see a whole bunch of water come into the truck.
Let me take 1 second here because we just got something in from Michael Kramer, the town manager in Carolina Beach. You were on Pleasure Island for the bulk of the storm, or the early part. He talks about the news is improving there. Wastewater treatment plant continues to be stressed. We are hopeful the plant will catch up during the night, but he says both communities, Carolina and Curie Beach, will meet at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to verify the status of the power, the status of the sewer and water system issues, and make a decision then on re-entry. So we'll get more information tomorrow from leaders in Carolina and Curie Beach, but that is literally a minute-and-a-half old email. The curfew's still in effect for both of them. But again, a meeting will happen tomorrow morning where they'll look at all these things and start talking about re-entry to Pleasure Island. So for those of you who may be watching and wanting to know more, and I didn't mean to stop you,
no, that's
but I saw this
important
coming in, and I know
that's
a lot
what
of people
want to know. People are really concerned. I got so many. We basically turned on Facebook Live today and just drove around, and it. I mean, you know how storms are. In a small or medium-sized market, when you're trying to figure out news on a daily basis, you have to enterprise stories, you have to figure out, but in a hurricane, you point and shoot. Yeah. And it took us like 2 minutes to find news, and here's news, and here's news. And people said, well, what does it look like at my house? And what does it look, because they're not here.
Fran mentioned that earlier today, too. You mentioned about we get people asking about they give us the address.
The exact address.
Yeah.
And that,
and they're out of town or they're out of state, and they need to know what their house looks like, and they want us to go and check on it.
And And you know what? I think as
that's
okay. We as journalists, I mean, that's our goal is to be able to disseminate as much information as possible. And obviously, if the neighborhood that you live in wasn't on the news today, it might have done better than some of the others. That's probably a starting point.
That's a very good point, Colin. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because we've also gotten emails from people. For example, we just got one that said, "What about Oak Island?
Yeah.
Don't forget about us."
Yeah.
And it may be that you fared better than the other communities that we're focusing on.
It could be, and it could be that we're strong, we're WCT, but we only have so many people.
There are limits.
Yeah, we can't be everywhere, and so and quite honestly, we couldn't get to everywhere. It took us 2 hours to get to Pender County.
That has been the beauty of our community voice page, because people have been sending in videos and pictures from communities we simply just can't get to because we run out of resources. But I'm telling you what, Colin, you really have been everywhere.
Yeah.
And I want to go back before John gets back and we show some more video from today. I want to go back from day one when you were in Carolina Beach.
What day is it again? Today's Saturday, Sunday? What?
But your oceanfront, John, thank you.
Yep.
Your oceanfront, you and Chelsea Donovan. And
what a trooper she is, huh?
Oh, yes.
Man.
Lucas Nelson.
Yeah.
Over there somewhere.
Big dog.
And Kristen Crawford. I mean, you and Chelsea are probably the two most fearless people I know.
Oh, she's got me beat.
On the planet.
Scott said it best. She watched my morning stuff and was like, "Oh, that's good. Hold my beer. Watch this." Like she's ready to go, and she's up for it.
But I mean, you were.
Yeah.
You were fearless. You were standing out there, in very strong winds.
Sure.
And going there, you didn't know what was going to happen at that point when you signed up to go to Carolina Beach. It was a Category 4 storm, but you really wanted to go. Tell us what it was like. I guess the adrenaline was going. What?
I mean, there's a lot to this. Nothing, I think, brings a community together on the news and the weather and the social front like a storm does. Like, there's so many eyes. And as journalists, obviously, when you write a story, if you write a story and just hand it to one person, you'll have an impact on one person. But when you have the ability to reach a lot of people and tell a lot of people's stories, it's impactful. As a journalist, you feel both the burden and the joy of being able to do that. And a storm, living here for so long, these types of things, being able to kind of put them in reference to other storms, it's different than the national news. We all watch national news. There's memes about how they cover hurricanes and what's really happening and stuff. And so to be the consistent voice is an important duty. And that's why I love, yeah, sure, I'm a meteorologist. It's freaking intense to see 80 and 90 mile per hour winds, but really I'm captivated by the stories of what people do. Like the gentleman we talked to, Mike Patel, who's the owner of the Sea Merchant.
Yes.
He's giving away meat. Before the storm, he's giving it away. That was our first day there. It was like, okay, this is.
And we had to double check that. Are you sure he's giving away?
Giving it away, yeah. He was, I think he was doing, he bought water at $2 a case and sold it at $2 a case. So he just was trying to help, and community-minded people. I'd like to go check in and see how he fared through the storm, but a lot of
plenty of time to check on those people that have done good deeds, because there's going to be a multitude of stories that we're going to hear in the next weeks,
especially
about people who have done you have the first responders in Pender County who delivered a baby, for goodness sake. During the storm. And somebody who, we had another story, and we're going to wrap in a second, Kelsey, I promise. Story of somebody walking from their home in Monkey Junction to get supplies at a store and forgot their debit card.
Yeah.
So somebody who was at the store offered to give that person a ride home to get the debit card and then a ride back. Didn't know who they were,
right,
but saw that they needed something and then offered to give them a ride home and a ride back. Didn't want the accolades, didn't want that, but people helping people.
We saw
but that's where we live, folks. That's our community.
It is, and the guys that drove me around today in their big trucks were helping WPD. They were delivering supplies, and they saw an opportunity to be of service, and they jumped at that. And what better than that? What story's better?
You have been of tremendous service to the community. You were the eyes and the ears in areas that we simply could not go to. You were just phenomenal.
Thank you for that. I would like to say that it's not over yet. There's real concern for the folks in Pender County with this and other low-lying areas along the rivers. It's going to be a dicey couple of days for sure with rising water.
All right, Colin, thank you. Job well done,
young man.
Sir.
Yep.
Job well done.
Job well done.
Also out there in the community, Casey Roman taking a look at some of the flooding, talking about one of those main arteries to get back, Highway 74.
I know we've been getting a lot of questions from people. When can I come back? Which road can I take? And the answer is at
I don't know what just happened there.
I don't either. Oh.
Okay. All right. So are we going to play this one now or no?
Okay, so do you want to go to it right now, Kelsey? Okay, let's go back to Casey Roman along Highway 74 in Brunswick County.
I know we've been getting a lot of questions from people. When can I come back? Which road can I take? And the answer is, at least on anyone who's trying to come in on Highway 74, 76, the answer is, from what I can see, you are not going to get further than Columbus County. All right? Columbus County, Highway 74, 76 is completely washed out. And we've got, if you can see, cars out there that had to be abandoned in the water. There's a van on the side. There's another one that I can only see just the top of it. The only vehicles that I've been able to see get through this water are the big Army National Guard trucks that are elevated. We've got another one right here. Again, you know, you can see in some of these that I've been able to get close to, their personal belongings. People trying to get out, trying to get back in, trying to go somewhere, but still the message tonight is please stay exactly where you are. If you leave the safety of your evacuation zone and try to come back in, you are going to get stopped at some point on our major roadways coming back into this area. It is simply not safe to risk it. Again, Highway 74, 76 in Columbus County, completely inaccessible by road. Reporting outside of Lake Waccamaw in Columbus County, Casey Roman, WECT News.
We've got some VIPs in the studio right now.
Yeah, very important persons. First off, let's have your names.
Steve Lambros and my son.
Okay, Steve and his son. They have been volunteering and dropping off hot food to shelters in and around the area?
Yes, sir. New Hanover County, Columbus County. We took out to the shelter in Whiteville. Mm-hmm. The Army had to come and get the food today because of the roads were impassable for us. And we've also been taking some to Pender shelters as well. And there'll be more coming.
Why?
Because people can't get in, and so they're in shelters, and so they can be safe because of the flood waters, and at the beginning because of the strong winds.
Mm-hmm. But who are you? What group are you associated with? I mean, obviously, we're talking about how many meals you've delivered so far?
Today was close to 10,000 meals.
Oh. 10,000 meals.
We're teamed with World Central Kitchen, mm-hmm. and the fellow behind that was a famous chef out of Washington, D.C., Jose Andre.
Oh, we spoke to him. One of our reporters spoke to him earlier in the day today.
Yes, yeah. Great fella, and we were feeding the EOC for the county, and got a call from one of his guys, and so we teamed up. So they're working out of our kitchen at Diamond Food Enterprises.
That's awesome. So what was it like when you went to the shelters delivering the food? And I'm imagining the folks were very appreciative.
Yes.
Yeah? So tell me how it felt for you.
It felt very, very, just kind of surreal.
Really?
To see the people, they are displaced, they're on their cots, and yeah, I just went to Hoggard High School this night, mm-hmm. This evening, and
opened at 5, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw this line of people that were going to get in, that were going to add to the number of the people tremendously, and mm-hmm. and that was because Laney High School's shelter, it actually flooded. That's mm-hmm. what I heard from other people.
Trask Middle School, I think it was.
Yeah,
right?
Trask.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so they had to leave Trask and go to Hoggett, and
Yes.
so there were more people going, and then even more will go because people are going to lose the ability to stay in their homes because of flooding. So it made you feel good to deliver the food.
Yeah.
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 Very humbling, and they're so appreciative, and a lot of the folks in the shelters too, you know, they pitch in and help, so it's awesome.
And you've been now obviously to shelters and, you know, taking it out to Columbus and Pender and New Hanover and all over the place. We've had reporters go into many of the flooded areas. We usually getting us inside the shelters, it's difficult because you have to deal with privacy and everything else like that, but you've been inside.
Yes.
Give us an idea of what you see when you walk inside there. What's on people's faces when you go in there?
They're very happy to see us, you know, just something simple, just, you know, getting a hot meal, and, you know, behind Chef Jose, it's excellent. It's not like, you know, getting a snack, so it's a hot meal. And
Like
you know,
what? Give us
salad.
an idea of what.
Today was a nice barbecue chicken over rice, and then, but just the spices and everything. Chef Jason is the one in charge at our local kitchen. He's fantastic. The salads would be something that you get at a gourmet restaurant.
Is that right? That's
Yes, ma'am.
so phenomenal. So what do you hope will come out of this? We've been talking for the past few days about the community, and not just our community, but all around the country. People got word of this horrific storm coming our way, and people have been calling from all over the world, actually, wanting to pitch in and help. What do you hope will come out of this? I don't think you're looking for any accolades. I don't think you are as well.
Not at all.
What do you all hope will come out of this?
Probably people be more aware to help their fellow brother, you know, and their neighbors. And you know, a lot of times, sometimes we might live next to somebody and really not know them, but this, you know, is a kind of a wake-up call in a way, you know, where people can get together and help one another, and it's very gratifying that way.
That's beautiful.
And to take somebody the simple gift of food when they may be anxious inside a shelter, when they may be, I mean, I know many of them have cots and everything else like that, but when they're in really kind of desperate shape,
Right.
you're coming with main sustenance of food, has to be also good for your soul.
Yes, meeting a simple physical need is what that is, but you know, there's other greater needs that's important as well. The community's been fantastic. UNCW reached out to us. They knew they were going to lose power, so they, before their food was even close to going bad, they let us use it. They brought it over, and we went and got the, you know, with the county. And then Chick-fil-A did the same thing. You know, when they already have, they're ready for the next day, and they know that they're going to lose power. So we've already used up all of that, and we were very fortunate. Cisco Food Service dropped off a couple of trailers full of food the day before.
Really
you know, it just took a lot of pre-planning and prep. Sure. Especially with these guys, Jason, Nate, Eric, Ramon from World Kitchen. They're top. They know what they're doing. And Sammy actually went out with me Thursday night to Columbus County. And there was nobody on the road with us. We were a little bit crazy to go, but we got there and got back and safe. So, you know, the people were very excited.
Well, we're glad you made it safe that night, and because you made it safe, you can continue to spread that and meet that need for another how many nights. We appreciate Steve and Stephen. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And we speak for the hundreds that you have fed in shelters all across southeastern North Carolina in saying thank you, and really God bless you for doing the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you guys for what you all are doing, keeping people informed, and the police force and the EMTs, everybody's doing a fantastic job. They're all working together.
Yes, they are.
That's the beautiful part about an ugly storm, that people come together and help each other, and what you all have done has been tremendous. So thank you. We can't say thank you enough on behalf of the folks who are at the shelter. This storm is not over. I know your work is not over, so thank you.
And thanks to the county too. They've been fantastic, and you know, they've accepted the help, and they've been really awesome.
And what's the name of your organization one more time?
Diamond Food Enterprises.
Okay, and you're working with World
Central Kitchen.
World Central Kitchen.
Can we go online and get information about you?
About us, and then about World Central Kitchen, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then also, World Central Kitchen is taking donations.
Oh, okay.
Because they do this, and this is a drop in a bucket in a way. They were on the ground in Puerto Rico, set up 6 or 7 kitchens. They were in Guatemala. They've been all over the place. Yeah. So,
but we never take that type of service for granted, because what it does is just phenomenal. Yeah. And you weren't just serving bologna sandwiches. I mean, we had some gourmet meals going on,
yes,
right?
And we dropped off some to you guys to try.
Did you really?
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
sure
look, we will be happy to sample.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank
please
you
be safe as you continue to go around the area. Stephen, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Stephen, very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
And again, thanks for helping meet the need in this community. We're going to reset right now.
I gave my...
Okay, I'm First Alert meteorologist Eric Davis. Got some information, a little bit of breaking news from the National Weather Service. They have now confirmed that a tornado did in fact touch down in the Porter's Neck area. This was last night about 9:30 in the evening, sometime between 9:29 and 9:31. I'll read the information that we've got. This is from the National Weather Service Storm Survey team in Wilmington. 85-mile-per-hour winds is what they estimate with this tornado. It had a width, I should say, of about 50 yards, path length of about a half mile. Thankfully, no fatalities or injury, but again, this is a statement from the National Weather Service. This is their survey result. A brief tornado touched down on the north side of Porter's Neck Road between Porter's Neck Road and Tibby's Drive. The tornado moved northwest for less than 2 minutes, so it was only on the ground for about 2 minutes, and snapped a couple of dozen trees up to 16 inches in diameter and uprooted a few large trees. It is classified as an EF0 on the scale. So again, a little bit of breaking news there about the tornado that we now know touching down in Porter's Neck. The National Weather Service office in Wilmington has completed that survey. Also want to point out that there's also a report of a brief tornado touchdown. I believe that's the same one, actually. That's the same information. Oh, okay. But yes. But if you want me to do weather, I can do some weather. If not, I can toss back. Why don't you tell me what you want, and I will go ahead and do that. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and do a little weather here while we're at it. Okay. John and Fran and John would like to. We'll toss it back to you guys.
Okay, so confirmation that there was a brief tornado that touched down on the north side of Porter's Neck Road. Marissa Hunley alerted us to that much earlier, and so when we were hunkered down last night, because it was
for good reason.
Well, a few tornado warnings in our area. You never know when they're going to touch down. So when the warning is made, go to an area that is safe, because you don't know when an actual tornado is going to touch down.
We have about, I think, about 10 minutes left here before we're going to take a break. And again, we will be back with WECT News at 10 on Fox Wilmington. And then we will be back after the football game on WECT, kind of recapping all of the top headlines. But safe to say that all county schools in Brunswick, Pender, and New Hanover will be closed all week next week. Columbus County Schools closed Monday through Wednesday. Bladen County Schools closed tomorrow until further notice. And more details coming now.
All right, the Sanford Dam in Boiling Spring Lakes breached on Saturday due to rain from Florence. And as you can see, look at that. That is rushing waters. And this is what happens when a dam is breached. That's the way it looks.
Yeah, all that pressure from the excess rain, all that pressure from other creeks or bodies of water that are just so swollen because of all the rain. And the runoff just puts so much pressure on top of the situation there that the dam breached. So far, no word of anybody hurt or no other major impacts from that situation. Let's go back now to WECT's Brad Myers. He's got some updates in the Digital Center. Brad?
Yeah, guys, you were just talking about some of the damage there in the Porter's Neck area, as now we've confirmed that a tornado did touch down in that area. Another area last night when Eric and Kelly were giving us those tornado warnings was the Echo Farms area. And they were saying there was the potential, there was some potential there along Carolina Beach Road. And check out these images here that Jill Wolf sent in to us from Echo Farms. I'm going to try to bring these up. A lot of damage there with trees just toppled over on top of power lines there, getting dangerously close to homes in that case. Can't even really see the road in a couple of these pictures, but just a lot of damage there in the Echo Farms area, again, along Carolina Beach Road, not too far from us here at the station. I wanted to show you some other items. I did see, and I can't remember his name, he asked if the NFL game was going to be on tonight on 6-1 on Antenna. The answer is yes, it will be. And again, as John said, we'll join that coverage here in the next 5 minutes or so. I want to show you this from Whiteville. Stephanie Long. Want to make sure I'm saying the Red Hill Road in Whiteville blocked on both ends and continuing to rise. All roads are flooding as well. No way off this road. So some just scary images there with the water. Again, a lot of these images we've been showing, and if you know how tall those road signs are, then you know that the water is up dangerously high in some of these areas. You do not want to drive through that, as we've seen countless cars flooded out in this area. So again, Stephanie Long sending us these images. I want to try to scroll back up now and see if I can go. Somebody posted this video of the Curie Beach Pier, and they were saying it's just a relief to still see it standing. A beautiful place and a peaceful place. I thank you, Jesus, for sparing her. So, Joyce, I think a lot of people agree with you there and are glad to see Curie Beach still, or the Curie Beach Pier still standing. So, great images there. Let's scroll on up here. I wanted to get to Varnum Town. You've heard Kelly talking about the river there and levels being dangerously high. Varnum Town and Lockwood Folly River there. Just look at that. Just quickly moving those trees out of that area, and that kind of gives you a sense of just how fast that water's running. That's why you shouldn't walk in it. That's why you shouldn't drive in it. Just stay away from it, guys, as we continue to check out some of these pictures. Continue to send them in. Even after we stop our coverage, this is a good way for us to show viewers what's going on in the area. So again, you can go to Facebook, search for WECT Community Voice, and send us your pictures and video. Guys, back to you in the newsroom.
So much, Brad. Okay, so we've got some good news for some of you. I know you're wondering, am I going to be able to watch that football game tonight? You are.
Because you've sent us emails telling us that you're about ready for our coverage and you want to see football. And
we want you to see football. And so we're going to break away at 8:15. But I want to say this quickly. I mentioned that Pine Valley has power. Part of Pine Valley has power. There's quite a few areas in the Pine Valley neighborhood still without power, and residents in those areas let us know. So thank you for sharing that with us. We were told Pine Valley had power, and not all of it does.
We'll be back on WECT News at 10 o'clock on Fox Wilmington, and we will give you the headlines of everything that has happened, what we're going to do moving forward, and then we'll be back on WECT after the football game.